As we all know, I'm a brand new Star Wars fan, okay? I just watched episode 4. And if you know me, you know that I like to talk about certain themes, okay? Politics, spirituality, mental health, etc., etc. So let's talk about what I saw in the movie. This may be like a 2-3 part series because there's quite a few things I wanted to touch on, but one of the first things that I actually noticed in this movie was the element of religion and spirituality. Okay, so y'all know I don't know anything about Star Wars, so I didn't know that the Force was actually something that people believed in or they didn't. And it is seen as something that is just kind of like hokey pokey to some people, and that it's like, oh yeah, that's part of like the ancient Jedi religion, you know? Which reminds me of what a lot of people do today with indigenous religion and practices and spiritualities, right? Like they just kind of write it off because they're like, yeah, whatever, like that's, part of that old religion, and like those people are already, exterminated, XYZ. So that was really interesting. It seems like people who are most tapped in or who are the most sensitive to the Force have like a lot more power with it, like Darth Vader, how he's able to choke people, and Luke, how he's able to kind of grasp things a little bit quicker, and also hear Obi-Wan's voice. So I feel like that reminds me of like just spirituality, like people who are a little bit more sensitive, people who are tapped into the source, tapped into their intuition, tapped into their clair audience, sentience, XYZ. They remind me of the more powerful Jedi in Star Wars. On the mental health side, something that I noticed is not processing death or grief very well, if at all. We see this when Princess Leia's planet gets blown up right in front of her face. She watches it happen, and there's not much for her to process through because she has to keep it pushing. Like now she's being sentenced to death. So there's that. There was Luke not really processing very much. We also didn't really get to process much of Obi-Wan's death. Then at the very end, Luke and all of the fighters in the spaceships, all of them that keep dying, that Vader keeps killing. And the one, I think, like from his hometown, I don't know, seemed like they were homeboys. He didn't even really get to process that death. So we're seeing a lot of like emotional suppression and, not really processing like negative feelings, sad feelings, because of the fact that you just need to survive and because of being in survival mode. So I'm very curious on how that is going to take a toll on a lot of these characters, and how, if at all, we're going to see them maybe process it, or the effects of not processing it. If you want me to dive deeper on any one of these, just let me know. But yeah, there will be more in part 2.